Today is 464 day that I come here to share lessons I learned and I'm learning. I hope those lessons support your dreams, your goals, allow you to become the person that you want to become. Today I'll speak about negotiation. I truly believe that negotiation is one of the most important skills in life because everything what we do is negotiation. In a business, in life, in career, and with kids, everything you need to negotiate. And if you don't know how to negotiate, a lot of times we will have a lose-win situation. That means you will lose and someone else will win. And if you want to have a win-win situation, of course you need to understand that how to negotiate. Now, one thing that there's a huge difference between negotiate for the lifetime and negotiate just for a year or for just one time. Because a lot of times people negotiate and they win big, amazing deals, but no one wants to deal with them anymore. No one wants to work with them. So I truly believe that you need to learn how to negotiate to understand that this is not a finite game, it's infinite game. So when you negotiate for infinite game, that understand this negotiation will lead to other negotiation and other negotiation. And if you will try to win as much as you can and making sure that other person lose, at the end of the day you will lose as well. So I truly believe that negotiation is very important, but you need to negotiate in the best way. Today we'll share 9 potential things that you need to consider to really prepare for negotiation. So first one is preparation. So of course you need to prepare to negotiate. For example, you want to get a better salary, or you're going to a new position and now you need to get a salary. So that means you need to prepare, understand how much money that position gets in other companies. Because if you have no idea how much people making in that position, of course you're not able to properly negotiate. And I love saying that when you go to negotiation, if the negotiation is 1 hour, you need to prepare from 3 to 10 hours so that 1 hour. So that means always 3x or 10x. Of course, it depends on the complexity of negotiation, how big the deal is. But of course, you always need to prepare at least 3 hours before the meeting, understanding the context of that negotiation. For example, if you are trying to get a better salary, you need to understand what kind of, how much other employees make in similar companies in similar positions. Number 2 is clarify your objections. So that means you need to know the top and the bottom. So that means what you're trying to achieve and what you will not be able to settle. Because if you go into a negotiation without really having a goal or objective, then it's a lot of times other person will go closer and closer to their goal until they will reach it, while you will get no target. I love the example is that if someone puts a blinders on your eyes and then turns around and you need to try to shoot the target, of course you will not be able to do it. So it means you need to see the target to be able to hit it. So that means exactly the same in negotiation. You need to see the target if you want to try to hit it. Number 3 is listen actively. That means a lot of times when you listen actively, you understand what is most important for that person. For example, as I shared the example with employment. So that means when you're going to get a job and get a salary, you need to listen what they're saying, because a lot of times it's not just about salary, it's about the position, it's about the culture, it's about the urgency of the person. All those things will matter. So if you know that it's super urgent, that means you're able to hit a little bit higher because you will be able to jump in and bring value very fast. If you're not in a rush, of course that reduces the power. And again, like how well you align with the culture. And if they see exactly that you are the person, and by listening you're able to understand that, of course you're able to hit a little bit higher price because you know that you will bring tremendous value to the company. So that means, of course, listening, understanding what they're saying, and repeating what they said and asking the right questions will allow you to open up and be able to find the best way to negotiate. Number 4 is finding common ground. That means that, of course, when you start negotiation starts when you put the price. And then, of course, you can most likely you can potentially give some kind of range between the prices that you would love to get. So that means that now when you have that common ground, then you start working with it. Okay, so what you are trying to achieve and what I'm trying to achieve. So when you start looking at it, like, I think a lot of times negotiation is supposed to be the deal that you're working on, and you are as a team to work to figure out how the deal is supposed to look like. So that means you put yourself in a common ground and really start finding what is the best deal for both of you. Number 5 is make concessions. This is very important to understand that if you play finite game, you will never make one concessions. And you say, this is my goal, this is my objective, and I will not settle. But if you really say that this is infinite game, I need to show that I'm able to make concessions. So that means, of course, that sometimes you're able to adjust a few details. Maybe you will take a little bit more responsibilities. Maybe you will get some other things, because a lot of times people say, oh, this is what a salary wants, but maybe you will get something out different that potentially could satisfy your needs. Maybe you will get a healthcare, maybe you will get some car cover, maybe travel expense, maybe something else. And when they will cover all those things, you will not need to spend those things. Maybe you don't need to make as much. So that means you need to sometimes make concessions when you're able to discuss something around that deal. Now, number 6 is be flexible. That means that when you go to meeting, you prepare a lot. A lot of times there's things will come out you that never knew. So that means at that moment you need to be flexible. You need to adapt and really say, okay, if I didn't know that, if that's now what I know, what am I supposed to do with that information? And that means you will need to be flexible. Understand that sometimes you don't need to be very stiff, and you just need to be able to be like water and adjust accordingly. Number 7 is communicate effectively. Now, negotiation is all about communication. That means, of course, if you're not able to put your thoughts in a concise way, people will not understand why is that important for a specific amount, specific position, but why is that important to you? So that means, of course, we need to learn how to communicate effectively, concisely. So every single person is supposed to invest their time really during preparation, how you will explain yourself, how you will position yourself. Number 8 is be confident. Now, of course, if you spend a lot of hours, like 10 hours to prepare for the negotiation, you need to show that you are confident. You know exactly what you want to achieve, and this is what you're working on. Because if you get desperate for this position, most likely you'll lose, because other people understand that you're desperate and they will try to win. But when you are confident and you are at the same level that other person, then you're able to really find a common ground, find the opportunity to win in that situation. And the last one is reach a mutually beneficial agreement. I think that is very, very important. A lot of times who play finite game, they will want to win and take the best and squeeze the most out of other person. And of course, at that moment will be win-lose. Some other person could agree to go with that negotiation and with that agreement, but they will have that bad feeling in their gut that other person took advantage of that. And of course, that they will share that feeling with other people. And might be that agreement will be for a year, but you will not extend it. You will not extend that agreement for longer. Sometimes people have that 5 years agreement, but you will not extend it more than 5 years. That's why there are so many companies who are top 500 companies, and they, for 5-10 years, they're doing amazing, and then they fall out of top 500 because they start to be, like we are top 500 company. We're able to play big boy game with small companies. And of course, because of that attitude, they lose top 500. But there are so many companies who are in a business for 60 years and more, because they have the value of right communication, right negotiation. And people want to do business with them. A lot of times, everything falls into negotiation. Because if you want to win every single negotiation, and you try to squeeze other person, sooner or later will get out of business, because no one will want to do business with you. But if you try to find a common ground that you really want to make as much money as you can, but at the same time you want to make sure that other party makes as much money as they can as well. I truly believe that when you have that mindset, you're able to play infinite game and have the business very, very successful. Or if you want to have a job, you will get that position, and of course the company will strive and you will strive as well. So I hope you will implement those 9 things that potentially could allow you to become a better negotiator. I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.